Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Warrior Fast Break on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining me. We are brought to you by Russell and Associates, and we'll start off today by talking Warrior men's basketball with head coach Todd Eisner. And before we start anything else, congratulations, Coach Eisner, on 100 wins as a Warrior head coach. Your reaction to hitting that milestone?
It means I've been here a long time, and it just it doesn't really faze me at this point in my career. It's I guess a landmark or a milestone that people want to recognize, and I wanted it to be a lot faster than it took. Let's just put it that way.
All right, and you're used to that. You've hit 100 at different stops along your career, so but still, congratulations. That's
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Let's talk about the game then on Thursday, because not only did you go over 100 wins in your career, Devin Whitelaw went over 1,000 points, and more importantly, you got the win, 89-67 over Concordia St. Paul. Just kind of walk us through that game a little bit and tell us your thoughts on beating Concordia.
It was just a game we needed. We've made things a little more challenging on ourselves than we needed to, and had some very good stretches throughout the game. And then, kind of our second semester bugaboo is we came out in the second half and got a little complacent again on the defensive end of the floor and allowed Concordia St. Paul to jump back in the game a little bit. So I thought our adjustment in terms of just our approach, the last 10 minutes was really good on the defensive end, and that's what allowed us to kind of break away and get a needed win.
All right. I want to ask you a little bit about Connor Dillon, and I know we've talked about him the past couple of weeks because he's been electric off the bench. And I want to know from your perspective, and if you can speak for Connor as well, I know there's probably some part of you, maybe it's just a little part, that might say, maybe we need to make a change and get him in the starting lineup, although he may be more effective coming off the bench and giving you that spark. What's that kind of decision like? Has there been any kind of thought process like that?
Yeah, there really hasn't. I mean, at the end of the day, we're far enough along, and for me right now, there's really not a spot to plug him in. I mean, obviously Al's at one perimeter spot, and I anticipate him being an all-conference player when the coaches vote today, and then, Owen King does a lot of really good things that probably don't show up in the box score in terms of just his approach on a day-to-day basis. And so Connor's standpoint, obviously, gives us a great scoring punch off the bench, which we definitely need when we start to use some of our depth. And then with that, Connor's got to do some things on the defensive end of the floor at a higher level. I'm not a big fan of trading points where you score, but we don't do our job on the other end. And so he's more than capable of doing a good job on the defensive end, and he has done a good job on the defensive end at times. I'd just like to see a little more consistency on that end of the floor. And from that standpoint, that's probably the main reason that I haven't made any adjustments that way.
All right. Yeah. And I'm glad that you brought up Owen King as well, because I think maybe the thought from Warrior fans was when he came to the Warriors was that, that's going to be instant offense for everybody. But as you said, I mean, he has been solid in many areas of the game. And I think sometimes that gets lost when people just look at box scores. So thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, I mean, O's got a great basketball IQ. He's got a great spirit to him. He comes in every day, with a smile on his face and wants to work. He's always talking defensively for us and is usually in a really good position on and off the ball. And so there's a lot of intangibles that he brings. I get it. The people that were used to what went on at Caledonia and you drop down a level and you just think it's going to be easy. And it hasn't been easy. I mean, this is a great league. And I think O would tell you that a lot of the teams that we see here are, probably not quite as good, but very similar to what he saw when he played at South Dakota State. And so he impacts the game in a lot of ways. It doesn't have to be scoring. I'd certainly love for him to tee up a few more shots, but he brings great value in what he does on both ends of the floor on a daily basis for us.
All right, let's have one more thing about Concordia. You talked about the second half and maybe being a little bit lax at the beginning part of the second half, but towards the end really clamped down, just holding Concordia to 5 points in the final 5 minutes to really wrap things up. I would think that you would be happy with the way that the team played towards the end of the second half.
Yeah, I mean, we have to, and obviously, I know we'll get to the Mankato stuff here, but it's been a huge issue for us. I mean, the first 10 minutes of the second half, Cordy St. Paul shot 60% from the floor, and it's just been a theme for us. We're succumbing a little bit to I just don't have the energy today, and it's just not acceptable. But it's causing us a lot of problems. It causes problems in the Southwest game. It causes problems in the Mankato game, and in the first 10 minutes, it causes problems in the Concordia St. Paul game, and it's not acceptable. And unfortunately, we're in the postseason now, and so it's never too late to change it. But if we don't change it, we're going to be real disappointed with our postseason play here starting as soon as Wednesday.
All right, and as you said, Minnesota State was the last game of the regular season on Saturday in Mankato. Unfortunately, it was an 89-85 loss. Tell us a little bit about what happened in that game.
Well, anytime you give up 56 points and a half, you're in trouble. And we let them shoot 70% from the floor in the second half. And we had some mental breakdowns on the defensive end of the floor in terms of our scouting report and letting people do what we wanted to take away, and gave up a couple of really key offensive putbacks that we just didn't do a good job of putting bodies on people and allowed them to crawl back in the game. I think we got up 13 early in the second half, and we're doing some really good things and played a really good first half overall. And then just kind of wore down. And I think teams are just kind of, smelling blood with us right now in terms of just stick with it, because they'll break down, they'll wear down, and it's just not acceptable. Like I said, I've been really disappointed in our lack of toughness to just figure out a way to be better over the last 20 minutes of games. But when you let a team score 56 points and shoot 70% from the floor, you open up a lot of bad possibilities. We had a chance down 2 late in the game. We turned the ball over, and that was the difference in the game. But we had a bad turnover that allowed Brady Williams to get a breakaway dunk, and with about a couple minutes left in the game, and we just didn't make enough plays on either end of the floor. So it was really disappointing. We did a lot of really good things overall, but defensively, it's just not been part of what our identity's been here really the last about 4 weeks. And Mary did the same thing to us when we were here. They just didn't guard us. And so that's the scary part going into Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll talk about Wednesday and Mary in the first round of the playoffs. But just to tail on that at the end, it's a short week of practice. Do you address that with the team, the kind of breakdowns towards the end of the game, or do you kind of go on business as usual with a couple of days of practice before Wednesday?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, at the end of the day, one of our and part of me feels like our guys are using it a little bit as a crutch, but one of our tenets this year is next play, go on to the next play. But we need to learn from this. And again, it's not too late to learn. We're done with our regular season, but what we're doing and the breakdowns we're having are certainly some physical, but they're mostly mental, and that's leading to poor physical play. So yeah, it's something that we're certainly going to talk about in film today at 3. There's not a lot of physical things that we're going to do at this time of the year. We need to get as comfortable as we can to get ready for Mary in terms of what they're going to run. And obviously, we just saw them 3 weeks ago, so that's the benefit of coming back and seeing somebody that you're familiar with.
And of course, the way that the NSIC tournament has been formatted the last couple of years, you get a first round game that's at the high seed, and then after that, it's off to Sioux Falls and the Pentagon. So in the first round, you get a first round home game against Mary that's coming up on Wednesday at 6 o'clock. As you mentioned, maybe kind of a close game 3 weeks ago. You have beat Mary by double-digit points the 2 times that you played them this year. Do you expect to see anything different, or how do you plan for this week?
Well, they're very talented. I mean, Kai Huntsberry is probably going to be the newcomer of the year in the league, and he's had a tremendous year, and he's hurt us both times that we've played. We haven't stopped him yet. Jackson came off the bench and had 17 points the last time we played here at McCown, and then they bullied us inside. Big boy Lucas Meyer was 5 for 5 from the floor, and I think had 4 or 5 offensive rebounds. And so they've got enough pieces. They beat Duluth here 2 weekends ago to give Duluth their first loss in the North this season. And so anytime you're doing that, you're doing some good things. Coach Nelson's done a great job with that program in his first year. And so I expect them to do very similar what they did to us the last time we saw them. We were down 8 with, I think, about 10 minutes to go and rallied. But same thing. They shot over 50% both halves, and we had a hard time stopping them. It's just they didn't stop us, and we were fortunate to score more points than they did when it was all said and done.
All right, and because it's a short week, how are you health-wise heading into Wednesday?
We got to watch out for Luke Martins a little bit. He's been dealing with an ankle and a foot issue going into the game Thursday and Saturday of this past week, and then he sprained the ankle that he's having some foot issues with right before half at Mankato, retaped him, and he made it through. And Luke's tougher than nails, and I don't expect him to sit out, but we got to be careful and mindful here today and tomorrow in practice of just giving him some rest and try to put him in the best position possible for the game on Wednesday.
And then you have to be happy that you have a home game, 8-2 at home this year, 5 out of the last 6 at McCowan Gymnasium. You've just been a great team at home this year.
Yeah, our guys have done a good job, and our students have been really good at end zone area of supporting our guys and getting on the visiting team a little bit. And so hopefully some way, somehow we can get a good crowd there on Wednesday night and give ourselves a chance to move on to Sioux Falls.
All right. Well, I appreciate the time this week and the insight, and good luck on Wednesday.
I appreciate it, Justin. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. And again, Wednesday night at 6 o'clock, that's a game that you can watch right here on HBC TV 25. We'll take a break here on Warrior Fast Break. And when we come back, we'll talk Warrior women's basketball with head coach Scott Ballard. That's right after this. Get ready for Warrior Basketball Game Day and find out what happened the previous week on Warriors Fast Break. Each week, HBC TV 25's Justin Barrientos talks with Warrior men's basketball coach Todd Eisner and Warrior women's coach Scott Ballard to get their insight on the week that was in Winona State Warrior basketball. Warriors Fast Break on HBC TV 25 is brought to you by Russell & Associates.
Meet Jenny Siseski of Edina Realty. With nearly 30 years' experience, she knows that right now is the best time to sell your home. Jenny will help you get top dollar, higher than ever before. With today's low interest rates, it's time to upgrade your home and increase its value. High demand and low inventory also make this a perfect time to list your home. Call for a free market analysis. Contact Jenny Siseski at Edina Realty today, 507-458-7038.
Food, shelter, fast internet. It's all we really need. Good thing HBC has the fast, reliable internet it takes to power all the Wi-Fi hungry gadgets in your home, all at once. With speeds like these, get smooth HD streaming video, gaming, music, and surfing, all with no waiting, no buffering, no kidding. You want it. You need it. Get it. Call or click hbci.com and upgrade your internet today.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Warrior Fast Break. Time now to talk Warrior women's basketball with head coach Scott Ballard. And Coach Ballard, let's talk about last week's games. Let's start with Thursday. And unfortunately, it was a loss to Concordia St. Paul, 50-47. However, there was one milestone set as Emily Keek went over 1,000 points in her career. Tell me a little bit about how you saw that game against Concordia.
Well, it was a great defensive game. Both teams defended each other extremely hard. We led for probably 2/3 of that game. The first time we played them at their place, we lost by 44 points. I thought game plan was good. I thought our players defended as well in that game as any game we played all year. We rebounded well. Unfortunately, we did not finish very well. Another thing that continued was that they shot 17 free throws to our 2, and that's really hard to overcome when there's that big of a discrepancy. The thing that really made me shake my head was that our post people took 34 shots inside 15 feet in that game and never shot a free throw. And, Concordia's got people that are trying to block shots. It was a physical game. That's another reason the game was so low scoring. But I sure would have liked to have seen the free throws be a little bit closer to even. However, we still had our chances. I mean, we must have missed 8 to 10 point blank shots. Some of them were contested, some of them were not. We faded away on some shots because they had a shot blocker. They blocked a few shots, but we gave ourselves a chance to win. We shot decent from 3-point land. Concordia has always been a challenge for us to score against, but we probably had more good lucks in that game against them than we have in a long, long time. And it was frustrating to not take advantage of that because I felt like we outplayed them. But they got to the free throw line so much more than we did. That made up for their poor shooting performance. But that was a very winnable game for us that night. And and now we look to this week in the conference tournament, and if we can find a way to win at Bemidji on Wednesday, then we would play Concordia again for the third time and second time in a week. So that's we like our matchup if we can get that far.
Before we get to the Bemidji game on Wednesday, I do want to ask you about the Minnesota State game on Saturday. Tell me a little bit about how you saw that game go.
Well, anybody that watched it, seen that we tried to score too quickly from 3-point land in the second quarter, and we didn't hit a very good percentage of those shots, and that opens up opportunities for them to get in transition. I mean, we did a good job of defending them, running them off the 3-point line, but because they got so many transition opportunities, they got some easy layups, number situation. So we dug ourselves a 15-point deficit by halftime, and it grew a little bit more in the second quarter, but we only had 18 turnovers, which 18 sounds like a lot in a normal game, but against them, it's not. There's only been like 3 games the entire year where their opponents have had less than 20 turnovers. And so we didn't shoot the ball well enough to make up for, mistakes. I feel good that we out-rebounded Concordia and Mankato. That's always been a big challenge for us. Defensively, I feel like we've improved a lot in the last 3 weeks defensively. But offensively, 3-4 weeks ago when we won 4 games in a row, we shot the ball well. And now the last couple weeks, we've struggled shooting the ball again. And so it's really, really hard to win a game when you're only putting 55 points up on the board. But it's hard to hold teams under 60, and we've done that 3 of the last 4 games. So I feel good about our defense and how much our rebounding has improved. Our shot selection's been pretty good too. I can't really fault our shot selection, but we got to make more plays, and the kids are doing a good job executing game plans, which makes me feel good. But we can't shoot the ball for them. You gotta stay calm. You can't let teams. Mankato tries to speed you up. Concordia has a shot blocker. Southwest had 6'4" kid inside shot blocker. So sometimes sometimes when you get shot blocked a couple times, it bothers you on some other shots that really were not contested as much as you thought they were going to be. It causes you to speed up. When you speed up, a lot of good things don't happen. So, part of that is experience and getting used to it, but maturity. But we've got 3 seniors that have been through those battles before, so it just surprises me when they fall into some of those ruts like younger people. But this time of the year, it's like I told them as soon as the Mankato game was over, I told them in the locker room, I said, I'm excited, and they're looking at me like, wow, coach, we just lost. I go, I know, but those first 26 games no longer matter now. We know we're going to Bemidji. That's not a bad matchup for us. We absolutely did not play well at any phase of the game the first time we were there. We have some familiarity with their style of play now and their personnel. So, all that matters now is the next 40 minutes. You want to play more than that, you got to earn it. But, we're looking forward to it. I hope the weather is not treacherous. That can be kind of nerve-wracking. But, we're going to go to Bemidji, leave tomorrow on Tuesday, and try to give ourselves a chance to win and go to the Pentagon.
Yeah, I understand that the weather is supposed to be pretty good here, but once you get farther north, it's going to be a little treacherous. So talk us through, what happens this week, because obviously I'm sure you may have had a practice today, and then if you travel tomorrow, then you have a game on Wednesday. How much time do you actually get to work on getting ready for Bemidji?
Same as usual, 2 days of practice. Monday, Tuesday, we'll practice Tuesday before we get on the bus. Then Wednesday, you have a shoot around. You play. So other than it being a different day of the week, the amount of preparation time and watching film and getting on the floor, getting reps, it's the same. So that's not a factor.
Okay. How do you think the game will be different against Bemidji this time, considering what you had said before about how your team has been playing much better, especially defensively, towards the end of the season?
Well, boy, I'm hoping it's going to be a lot better because we play a lot better. I mean, we had breakdowns in our half court defense. We did not defend them well with all their ball screen action. Our transition defense, we had people that were lost. Communication wasn't good. We missed like 6 layups in the first half. We had a poor shooting game. We didn't execute well. We didn't rebound well. I mean, there just absolutely was not one phase of the game that we were good at. And they took advantage of those breakdowns. So I feel like we're a much better team now than we were then. I mean, they've lost 4 games in a row going into this. And so they're probably licking their wounds a little bit as well, but they're at home, which sometimes can give you, a sense of security that honestly, it really doesn't matter. If the other team plays really well, it doesn't matter where you're playing. But it'll be a 6:00 game on Wednesday. We're looking forward to the challenge. Yeah, it's a new season. I told our team it's, everything is a clean slate now. Any frustration that we've had during the course of this season with injuries or close losses or things not going our way. If there was ever a point during the season where you said to yourself, man, I wish we could just start all over. Okay, it's here. It's now. It's a brand new season. You have a preseason, a regular season, and a postseason. And this is the most important season of the 3. So all the frustration that you've had at different times during the year, you can forget about all of that if you put things together now. And we've had success in the past on the road. I remember we've had go to Mary before and Minot before and Moorhead before, and we found a way to win. And yeah, it's a long trip, but when you win, it feels a lot shorter.
All right. I know that I guess I kind of want to talk a little bit about the milestones, because we do kind of make a big deal of it in the media. Emily Keek got the 1,000 points. Taylor Husted is close. I think she's only 7 points away. So hopefully she will get that on Wednesday. And then, of course, you're close to a 300 win milestone at Winona State. What does that mean to you and the players in season? Or is that something that you try to block out a little bit and maybe you'll look at later on?
We don't talk about it or think about it during the season. It's just something that just happens. I certainly, I'm not worried one iota about, 300 wins or whatever, because I've been doing this a long time. I would rather talk about the wins than all the hundreds of losses. But it just means that for me personally, it means that I've had a lot of good assistant coaches. I've been surrounded by a lot of really good players over the years, and you surround yourself with good people and good things are going to happen. And this has been a hard, challenging year for us because when you lose 3 of your top 7 kids for the year in the first 2 weeks of the season, that's not something that you plan for. But we've went through some growing pains with younger kids being thrown into the fire for situations that maybe they were not ready for, but it's just going to accelerate their learning curve. The fact that we lost Fetch and Ava for the year with season-ending injuries, it doesn't help us this year, but it'll be a blessing next year. So you roll with the punches. The thing that's important is not how many times you get knocked down, but how many times you get back up. And we've got 3 seniors with Emily Keek and Emma Fee and Taylor Husted that this is their 5th year. They didn't have to come back for a 5th year, but they wanted to because it's important to them. And they had big plans for this year, and it's not went the way that they had hoped. But now is the time of the year where you can kind of redeem yourself and go for some lofty goals that you had set earlier in the season that did not look like they were attainable. But now you put things together. It's a great time of the year. Upsets happen all the time. Best team doesn't always win, but the team that plays the best usually does. And so if you put together a good week of basketball, and all of a sudden you can find yourself in a really exciting place.
All right. Well, I appreciate the time and the insight this week, and we'll definitely be keeping one eye on the live stats and one eye on the court as we cover the men on Wednesday. So good luck at Bemidji at 6 o'clock on Wednesday.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for watching Warrior Fast Break here on HBC TV 25. We'll see you next time.